Hey guys, what's up? Flixsinger here to talk about Call of Duty news. Now, this guy who is an ex-Activision employee has a TikTok and has explained a few things about matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking has evolved so much that it's taken on a completely different name. Have a listen.
Right? You get that happy feeling inside when you got something pretty cool. Activision's goal with matchmaking is pretty much the same. So 2 TikToks ago I mentioned EOMM, and essentially the idea behind that is not about making games fair for everyone or everyone getting a 1 KD, but to get players playing for as long as possible. Let me explain. So there's a ton of research out there on winning and losing patterns that keep people playing. The idea is, for example, let's say you have 2 hours to play. If you're winning too much, then maybe you'll get bored and leave only playing for an hour. If you're losing too much, then you'll rage quit, maybe you've only played for an hour. But if they can get those winning-losing patterns down, then you'll end up playing for 4 hours, thinking that the next game will be the one where you pop off. And their data shows that people who play a lot tend to spend money, and the players who spend money on a game are more likely to keep playing. It's a cycle, and from personal experience, I've had friends who have told me they bought a skin because they play the game a lot, even though they don't enjoy it or aren't good at it. So that's what the matchmaking does, that's the motive. It's not Sbmm, but it's a different version of EOMM, I guess is the best way of putting it. With the data Activision has on players, they're able to determine your chances of winning and losing in a lobby before the game even begins. For example, with that player satisfaction metric I mentioned in a couple TikToks ago, they know when you're about to rage quit, and then they put you in a lobby that gives you the highest probability of winning. What they've done is that they've turned matchmaking into a loot box. Every time you hit play now, you're essentially gambling. That's the real issue. Not if your lobbies are harder or arguments about participation trophies. None of that really matters because the main issue is that you're being manipulated every single time you hit play now, or you quit out of a lobby, or you buy something from the store. It's all part of getting you to spend even more money. You're not actually winning or losing games.
So in the end, this makes a lot of sense because a lot of people have been getting varied experiences when playing. I don't play that often anymore, and when I do, it's for maybe a few short hours, and I get lobbies usually with eclectic players, and every once in a while, skill-based matchmaking will kick in a really heavy and consistent way, but every night has become pretty unpredictable. I don't know which night is going to have consistent, strict skill-based matchmaking, putting me in the same types of lobbies many times with the same players over and over again, or which night will be more eclectic with the types of players I interact with. Now, I know the matchmaking is constantly being experimented with and tinkered with, so I just assumed it was because of that. Maybe they were just turning something up and turning something back down 1 week from another as far as skill-based matchmaking goes. And that may also be true within itself, but it appears the main reason people are experiencing different levels of this shit from one another, different levels of consistency in their skill-based matchmaking, is literally because the game is trying to figure out what win-to-loss ratio will keep you playing. So the more you play through shitty matches, essentially, the more you're going to be abused. If they know that you're going to stay on all night, even if you get one shitty lobby after another, it doesn't matter if the game is putting you up against what the algorithm detects as, quote, good players, to include hackers or people with horrible ping, which with straight-up skill-based matchmaking became a consistent problem for a lot of us, but if you sit through that stuff all night long, you are going to get more of it. But this also means that if you're not having a good time and you just leave the match, it's going to have more of an effect on your matchmaking than prior. And this is why this leak is going to be huge for the community. It appears that a fully implemented version of EOMM, or Engagement Optimized Matchmaking, is something that's more recent. Skill-based matchmaking in Modern Warfare, for example, wouldn't really let you lobby surf. The skill-based matchmaking was way too strong and way too consistent, and you would still end up in lobbies with people the same rank, the same time and play, the same weapon meta, around the same KD as you. But now if you quit out of a game and you lobby surf and then pop offline earlier than normal several nights in a row, you're going to get granted better matchmaking. Before, the matchmaking was centered around keeping people close or around a 1.0 KD. Your performance starts to ascend, it puts you in tougher lobbies. Your performance starts to descend, it puts you in easier lobbies. But now it's going to see how far it can push you with bad lobbies, so you can just become a fodder for people who won't play long without getting good lobbies. So you're not going to just be put in lobbies with people around your skill level. You will be purposely put into lobbies with teams that will wreck your shit just to see how much of it you can take, or to see if punishing you that way makes you stay on longer, because you're fighting to get at least one good game in before you go to bed. If it gives you a game with high probability of winning, and you win, and you finally just turn off your system because you're like, okay, I got one win, I'm going to bed. If this behavior continues, it will, down the road, begin to wait even longer before giving you a good match, because it's going to want you to stay on longer. But it also goes to say, if you change your behavior and pop off after having one bad game, or after losing once, and you don't get on for the rest of the day, and you do this several days a week, the algorithm's going to realize that you're really not going to play unless you get decent matches. This is next level gross because it is taking advantage of people who are hopelessly addicted to the game to just have the worst experience ever, as long as they can push that experience on said person in order to appease the players who aren't addicted and won't put up with that experience. And I know not every case is that straightforward. They're going to figure out people's ratios, like what you want from your gameplay that night and what's going to keep you playing longer are two different things. It's going to find out the ratio of bad matches to good matches that will keep you sucked into playing longer, that will keep your hopes up when it needs to. But now that the word is out, it's just another thing that the community can easily break, or another thing that players will get disgusted with once they find out and just leave. The numbers are already struggling for Black Ops Cold War. The only thing that's going to get in the way of them creating better change is the people who keep buying microtransactions. Everybody is having this horrible experience back and forth on this game, but it's finding a way to keep you sucked in and addicted, and then you're buying shit, which just makes their business model feel validated. If you give them what they want, they're just going to make things worse because they think it's working. And obviously, if you're spending more money, it is technically working. So stop buying shit. This may seem harsh, but for the people who bitch and moan about skill-based matchmaking and how it's just trying to incentivize people to buy stuff, but then you go out and buy stuff, in my eyes, in the eyes of tons of other people in the community, you have totally lost your voice. We don't want to hear your complaints. If you know what the algorithm is trying to do, and you let them do it, you're paying into the whole mess. Hopefully this spreads like wildfire, hopefully they get negative pushback for it, and hopefully the community takes advantage of this algorithm and breaks it. Just like we broke traditional skill-based matchmaking, forcing them to change onto something else. There is still skill-based matchmaking to an extent, of course, but it's a part of a much bigger algorithm now. But now that we know how the rest of the algorithm works, we know that we can reverse boost just by simply playing less and lobby surfing, and not settling for decent matches. So what do you guys think? Are you going to try this out? Are you just going to stop playing? Let me know how you feel about all this in the comments. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below, keep the conversation going, and I will catch you guys next time.